Hello, my name is Jordan Grigsby, and this is my Pechakucha. I raked my mind long and hard about what I wanted to do for my Pechakucha, and I wanted to choose something I was creatively really proud of, and that was my marriage proposal to my wife. First thing you guys should know is a little bit of backstory between my wife and I. We met 4 years ago. We met through Craigslist since both of us tended to be awkward in starting relationships. Within half a year, we had moved in together, and within 2 years, I knew she was the woman I wanted to marry. But that leads me to coming up with an idea to propose to her. My idea was crafted from her love of kids' books. She has quite the collection of fairy tales and pop-up books that made me come up with this idea. I wanted to make her a fairy tale that told our story. But to do this, I needed to recruit someone that could do the artwork. I can't draw to save my life, but my friend Diana was in an art program over in Seattle. I had recruited her help to make all the pictures possible, and she also ended up making the binding for the book possible. First things first, I came up with the idea for the story and wrote page for page what I had in mind, what was written on the page, and kind of what I had for the picture. Then, we edited it. We got all the colors for the editing and what we were thinking the pictures for. Then we had to think about what we wanted to do for the illustrations. Diana started studying kids' books to see what type of illustrations are typically in there. She noticed that watercolors are strongly used within kids' books, so that's what we decided to go with for the theme of the kids' book here. And all the while, I'm covertly creating this with Diana. When Sarah's at work and I wasn't at work, I tried to go over there so I could work with her, make sure the pictures are coming along how I want them, make sure the dialogue came up with it. Finally, once the book was done, I had it ready, I cleaned myself up, and I was ready to propose. And so I tried to get my wife to come into the other room. For the life of me, I could not get her to come into the other room. It was a very stressful 5 minutes just trying to do this. But when I finally did, I had the book sitting there on the bed, and I got her to come over, telling her I wanted to read this book to her. First things first, she looked at me and she's like, "Whoa, you found an author with your name. That's really cool," type of thing. And, slowly as I was reading this to her, she began to see, oh, wait, this is you that wrote this. I'm going to translate what all these pages mean to me. This first page is about me just, I felt alone. And, for the most part, I liked my life. But, it's lonely without someone. So that kind of drove me to put out a reply on Craigslist. Garrick is actually an anagram for Craig. And so I made the reply. I put it out there, with all the other millions of replies that go on to there. And Sarah somehow came, for whatever reason, was feeling lonely, and she started browsing the replies. She found mine. She liked that I was goofy and rambled on, and so she decided to, make her an email replied to me. For the next couple of weeks, first we started emailing each other, then we started instant messaging each other, and then we started talking to each other on the phone. Within the first couple of weeks, we got to know each other very well, even before we actually got to meet. But then there came time that we'd planned, all right, we're going to meet now. So we had our first date set. So we spent all this time, freaking out about it, prepping ourselves up. I remember I went and bought new shoes and, clean shaven. She brought a new dress for the occasion. My Loyal Horse and Going South was the two big key things in this frame. She actually lived probably about 30 to 40 minutes south of me in Tacoma. I lived up in Seattle. My loyal silver horse is actually my car, which at the time it was a silver car. This frame was probably the most oddly specific frame that is truest to what happened. We did, go to the zoo and the beach and the park on our first date, and we watched the sunset at the dock, and we shared our kiss at the end of our first kiss at the end of the first date. And this one was to represent, us moving in together, and we did have many more first dates. It didn't stop just after that first date like many relationships do. This one was about me thinking up the idea of coming up with this book, and I wanted to show that there was a ton of ideas that came, but after I came up with this one, I knew it was the one. At the very last page of the book, we had carved in a perfect shape of the engagement ring that I had gotten and put it in there. And this is all that was on the last page. There was nothing else written, no pictures. It was just, will you marry me? At one point, we'd even wondered if we could put a picture in there at the end. This would have been the picture I would have done. This was my happily ever after picture because she did say yes and we did get married. We've been married and have been living happily ever after for the last year and a half.